All set, Counselor. Hamel.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the April 8th Appointments and Negotiations Committee. This was originally scheduled for April 5th, then due to technical difficulties which affected the whole area, we had to postpone until Thursday. So I want to thank everybody. We have an early start tonight, and we'll be moving from the regular session into an executive session not to return. And we really only have one or two agenda items. So if possible, we'll move over early to the executive session. What I would say is that with that, I'm going to take attendance. So Councillor Johnson.
I'm here.
Councillor Gleising. And Betsy, your video is on.
Too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of minutes. I'm bringing stuff up, but here.
Okay, and I'm present, so we're all full and accounted for. We're well present and accounted for. We've got Liam Gallagher and also Tody joining us and helping us out. So welcome everybody. I think we'll give Betsy a minute or two, but while we're doing that, we got a handful of appointments to go through. So that will be our first agenda item. And
No, go ahead. I can hear everything.
you can hear everything?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, let's go. If you could pull up your worksheet, we'll go through that process like we have in the past. Oh no, one thing I forgot. I forgot the agenda item is can we take a minute and review the minutes from the February 1 meeting? Recall that we did not have a March meeting. Do I have, has everyone had a chance to read that?
Yes.
Okay, Betsy, have you had a chance to read the minutes?
I did.
Okay, so if there is no objection, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as offered?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, and I'll take the vote on that. Councillor Johnson,
Yes.
Councillor Gleisteen,
Yep.
and I'm in favor of those minutes. So that is unanimous approval of the minutes, February 1. There are no March minutes. So with that, Tody, I think we'll kind of go to your worksheet. We'll give people a minute to pull that up.
Before I get started, I did email candidates that or applicants that had more than one check mark off on their application.
Mhm.
Nobody got back to me with regards to whether they want to serve on more than one committee. So I only made recommendations for an individual to serve on a committee. I didn't put people on multiple. So that was one of the reasons.
Yep.
So, great.
Go ahead. So the Board of Assessment Review has 3 vacancies, 1 full voting member and both the alternate positions. We have 2 applications, David Burke and Leroy Crockett. I recommended that we appoint David Burke as a full voting member with a term to expire in 2022. And the reason is Leroy Crockett also checked off the zoning board, and he is, matter of fact, I've gotten several emails from him asking if this committee has made any decisions, and he's really interested in getting back on the zoning board of appeals. He had been serving there prior, but I said it was whatever the appointments committee's recommendation would be. So that was one of the reasons I had appointed David Burke to the Board of Assessment Review and left the other 2 positions open.
Great, thanks, Tody. So let's have some discussion about this. I know Leroy Crockett, I know we're going to talk about him later as well. He's served on a bunch of committees, has very extensive volunteer experience. But can we talk a moment about David Burke? I don't know him. Do we have any information on him other than what we have in his application?
Just what we have in the application. I know I did forward this application on to Nick Cludier, the assessor, and I want to say he reached out to him, but that's all I know. I don't know what the conversation was about or anything, but the only information I have is what we have in the application.
So I know he's got a pretty extensive background in public service. I think he was with South Portland I actually engaged with him one time because I had an individual approach me about zoning for tiny homes, which I thought was pretty unique. And actually, Dave stepped up to the plate and shared a bunch of information with, I don't know where it went, but you see, I've had a discussion with him. Betsy and I actually met him at the Hillcrest when we were doing a little get together there when we were running for the council. So seemed like a very knowledgeable individual.
Great.
Right.
Betsy, do you want to?
Yeah, a lot of it, some of it cuts off a little bit. And did he say he's been a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the past 2 years?
2 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so he sounds like he's got plenty of experience.
Yeah.
Great.
And we actually encouraged him at that meeting, to say, hey, do something. So
Yeah.
let's see that he is.
Yeah, he had some pretty extensive background, I think with South Portland.
Yep.
Before because he then moved over to Hillcrest. Him
Yep.
and his wife retired over to Hillcrest. So.
And Brunswick too, yeah. So,
Yeah.
hey, so based on that, can I get a motion then on this, on the Board of Assessment review?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the recommendations from Tody and appoint
Okay.
David Bork to a full voting member.
Okay,
Second,
okay. So with that, we'll vote. Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Gleisteen,
yes.
and I'm in favor. That's an unanimous recommendation to the council to appoint David Burke.
Okay, so on the Coastal Waters and Harbor Committee, we did have an individual that we had just appointed. He had to resign for personal reasons. That there was some medical issues going on with the family. So we do have 2 applicants that have shown interest, Nick Deering and Thomas Lauder. We currently have Andrew Fortunato, who is the first alternate on that committee, and my recommendation would be to move Andrew to a full voting member and appoint Nick Deering as a first alternate. And Tom Loader is one that had several committees checked off, and I believe I've recommended him for another committee later on in the
Great.
list. So
Okay,
just
thanks,
kind of
Tony.
spread everybody out, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much. For Coastal Waters and Harbor, can we talk a bit about Nick Deering? The name is familiar, but I don't know him. It looks like he's been in town for quite a while. Anybody know him? We have any information on Nick?
I don't know him.
He lives down on the Black Point Road, and his father is employed by the town at Public Works. He's
Okay.
a graduate from the high school.
All right. So he's a recent high school grad then, the younger.
It's been a couple years, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, we have a bunch of young folks on various committees, so that's, it's, I see how other counselors feel, and I'm willing to take a motion if you're comfortable.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we move forward with the appointments that are recommended by Tody.
Okay.
Second,
All right, then we'll vote on this. Counselor Gleisteen,
yes.
Counselor Johnson.
You just wanted to shake it up, right? Yes.
Yeah, throw a curveball there. I want to see if people are paying attention.
Tody did that last night.
I did.
Well, I'm in favor. So it's another unanimous recommendation. So thanks
So
very much.
the next one is the Long Range Planning Committee. There is one vacancy on it, and it's the first alternate. We had 4 applications, Mr. Bordeaux, Portia Hirschman, Tom Loader, and Robin Saunders. And my first recommendation was to move Corey from second alternate to first alternate, because he's currently in that second alternate position. But to make a recommendation, it was really hard on the second alternate positions. So I'm going to leave that up to the committee, because they all seem to be very, I know Robin Saunders is had been on the planning board for a number of years, and Mr. Bador is currently serving on, I think, 2, maybe 3 other committees. It goes with that retirement. He likes to stay busy.
So I'd like to make an appeal a diversity appeal here for a woman, which is,
Yep.
not something I frequently do, but I do think committees like this definitely helps to kind of get a little bit of diversity. I don't know Portia Hirschman. I do know Robin Saunders, and I did talk to Robin to find out why she stepped away, because she was more than just the and Tody might have said this, I apologize, but she was on the planning board, but she was also the liaison
Yeah.
to the LRCP. So I asked her why she stepped away, and she said her business had really picked up, and the planning board was so busy she could not do it, and she stepped away from long range planning because she said she thought she had to because she was the planning board appointee. And she
Right.
probably did because, she didn't have an independent role on there, and the planning board put somebody else on there. So I personally was glad to see Robin reapply for this. She's got her career background. She's got, just a lot of experience that is very valuable to the town, in my opinion. It's nothing against any of the other candidates. Like I said, I don't know, but so I just thought the information might be of value in terms of, understanding why she stepped down.
How about other discussion? I mean, I don't disagree at all with anything Betsy said. I think we do have some, I think we've got Rachel Hendrickson is on the Long Range Planning Committee. So she's actually the planning board, the new planning board rep. So, and this would be an alternate role. So the alternates recall vote when a full voting member is not present. So any discussion? Do you want to have any more?
So Dawn, do you think that kind of leans in too heavily to planning board experience?
No, I mean, I know Robin, and I have worked with her, and I think she has added a lot of value. The only question I would have is just sort of talking about the other candidates, making sure that we give them some fair consideration, and then decide what we have. I mean, I think that the move that Tody has proposed here in terms of Corey from second to first alternate is is really straightforward. He also has he's former chair of the planning board, so he has really deep experience in that committee.
Which one? Which one?
Corey Fellows was a former head of the planning board.
Corey. Yeah. Sorry, I thought we were talking about one of the applicants. Okay.
Well, he's the move from second to first alternate.
Oh yeah.
Right,
That makes total sense to me.
But to be fair, I thought we'd take a minute and talk about the other candidates for that
Yep.
second alternate. So we talked about Robin,
Yeah.
Eminently qualified, lots of.
Yeah, no, I agree with Betsy, and I enjoyed Robin. I thought, if you remember when we did the growth management interchange with long range planning for a couple times, she was right on top of the game, asked great questions and understood some very difficult things. But and it's unfortunate she had to step away, but I definitely understand that. I agree with Betsy. I think maybe not from the gender perspective, but from a new perspective, and I think it would be great to give somebody new a new opportunity.
So a quick question. She's no longer on the planning board. Is that right? Or is she still?
Correct. She's not on the planning.
She's not
board.
on anything. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd say is, I just want to take a minute to talk about the other candidates. I know Ms. Hirschman. I've spoken with her. She's a resident of Eastern Village. She's highly motivated to get more involved in things because of, some questions about the development and how it's proceeding. I do not know Mr. Bodor or Loader, but I thought we'd just take a minute, spend just to speak to them, and then in the event we move forward with a motion, be able to kind of keep them warm for further opportunities potentially, if that's possible. So,
Right.
Any other comments on the other two, Bodor and Hirschman and Loader? Three of the three.
Well, both did look good. I noticed that that, as Tody's pointed out, the other not Portia. I'm sorry to call her by her first name. I didn't pick up on the last name, but
Hirschman.
They both checked more than one thing. I don't know how that worked out. Tody seemed to be good at kind of saying maybe we could, but there was a couple. One of them checked 3, and then Mr. Loader, who is new to town, but clearly has some good experience. is interested in, looks like he would serve in a whole lot of different ways, including that pest management advisory, which is full, but I guess right now, but that's not one that's always easy to get somebody to serve on. So I would think that hopefully, we can get him in a role sooner rather than later.
The only position on the pest management that's open is the arborist.
Okay.
Right, yeah. It's not open right now, but once it comes open, but there's all kinds, so it's good to see that he has a lot of interest in serving in different areas.
Yep. I like the fact that he was a geography professor. So, getting into this line of work seems like a nice build. And, he lives
Good
on,
point.
he lives on Sexton Drive. So you got to love that, a geographer that lives on Sexton Lane. So
And I have to apologize. I thought I had heard Mr. Loader had been on several committees already.
Yeah.
That's why pardon me?
Mr. Bador, he's
Bador.
currently serving on, I think
Oh.
3. Anton Bador.
Yes, okay.
He's the one that's currently serving. I think he's on 3 committees, 2 or 3 committees already. Yeah.
I mixed the two.
Right,
So, I mean, I know Bador also, I think he's a, extensive, work experience as a senior executive for, some pretty well-known institutions. So it's probably very comfortable with juggling committee assignments. So anyway, I mean, I think that's outstanding. We have that many candidates and that kind of interest for the long-range planning committee. I mean, there's a robust committee that has a great heritage and a lot of good continuity, and a lot of the additions we've made, I think, are working very well. So are we ready to make a motion here? I mean, I think we already have Cody's recommendation for Corey Fellows from second to first alternate. And so for the second alternate, can we have a motion then for the other part of that?
I would nominate Robin Saunders.
Okay, and we have a second? Do we have a second?
Definitely, she's qualified. Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Very well. So we'll take the vote then for Fellows to first alternate and Saunders to second alternate. Councillor Gleifstein,
Yes.
Councillor Johnson,
Yes.
and I'm also in favor. So that's a unanimous recommendation. Thanks, Tony.
Okay, so the next one is the Pest Management Committee, and there had been no representative from the Rec Advisory Board, and Roger Chabot has offered to step into that position, and that would leave the position of the arborist and the horticulturist that would remain vacant. So we would, like we did, I think, Rachel, when she was to the long range planning, the representative from the planning board, we posted her name, and that's what is recommended for Roger, to post his name as the Rec Advisory representative to the Pest Management Committee.
Okay.
Any way we can get the name of that committee changed?
To Insecticide Committee?
Well, no, it's more than that, right? It's
We
environmental.
have talked
in general.
about this, Tony. What are the options?
Well, I don't know if it would be with the sustainability or with communications, not communications, but conservation. Do you remember, Liam?
I
I
don't.
think we had talked about consolidating it with conservation.
I want to say I think it was conservation.
I'm just thinking of, again, eliciting volunteers to be on the committee. When if I look down the page of pest management, what's that? We don't have roaches in Maine. I mean, what's going on? But
Well, a lot of the work they do it does involve the rec committee and how the fields and things are being taken care of.
Right.
And
Yep.
Todd and everything will do experiments. In some ways, I don't know how we could certainly rename it, but if you just said, well, we'll leave all that up to the rec committee, some of them maybe, probably wouldn't have all that much interest in that particular
right.
topic. So you got some folks that have interest in how that's working. I would always look to Todd if he's got some suggestions, because he's got senior advisory, which is, so I know they're constantly thinking about, it all kind of falls under recreation right now, even though that sounds strange for pest management. But it, maybe you talk about field management, because that's what a lot of it is. But I think, sometimes they take on other things too. So,
Right.
but it's interesting, and the people on it are very interested in it. So I don't think you get quite the same result if you just, put it right into recreation. So, some of these, they've all got their own flavor and expertise.
So are we ready to make a motion on this one? Yeah, fine.
Yes.
I would entertain a motion of any kind at this point.
Make a motion for Tody's recommendation for the pest management committee.
Yes? Is that,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Do I have a second?
Second, sorry.
Any more discussion? So Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Gleisteen,
Yes.
and I'm in favor, so unanimous recommendation. Well, we will revisit the possibility of combining this with the other committee as we had discussed. So, but there's not a lot of energy coming from committees to do this, so.
Right.
I think
And I think Todd would have good input, no matter what. So Todd works very closely with them.
I just think the way we do things now, we're trying to be as organic as possible. So
Yeah.
I just think some flavor of that would attract more people. That's all.
Makes sense.
But that's a side issue.
So the next group is the Senior Advisory Board. We had Carol Nelson that I had put down for an applicant. I would recommend moving Elise Bolda to a full voting member. She's currently, I believe, a first alternate, and appoint Carol Nelson as the first alternate.
Okay. Anybody know these candidates?
Well,
Elise,
senior advisory right now, we're struggling somewhat. It's been a hard hit committee by the last year. So a lot of our meetings kind of are workshops now, but I think we're trying to get going again. I called each member to see if they were still on. So, we're talking to Todd about it. So it's another one of those that, trying to figure out the best way to move it forward without losing the focus on it.
Okay.
But I would, I'd highly recommend, if we got people applying, that we put them on there, because we're in a building mode right now.
Okay. Ken, any comments on that?
No, the last person I recommended resigned, so I'm going to defer to what Tony recommends.
Actually, Ms. Bolda I think we just appointed her a few meetings back.
Okay.
She's a fairly new member, and the vacancy that she fills is the one that Carol Rancourt was.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got a lot of knowledge, the new person that we just appointed. And we have another gentleman on there who's very good, and he's the one who got her to apply. So that's the way you want to do it. Friends talking to friends who know that they would be good. She has a lot of knowledge in this area. She's already brought a lot of good ideas forward.
That's great. I mean, it's nice to see there being some energy and some buzz that's being generated by, the committee activities. So that's a good thing.
It's got a ways to go, but
So are we ready for a motion then?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we accept Tody's recommendations for the Senior Advisory Board.
very good. Do I have a second?
I second that.
And I will take the vote. Counselor Gleisteen,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
and there we have it. So.
Okay,
Bolda,
so the next is the Sustainability Committee. Sorry, Dawn.
go ahead.
Okay. There's one vacancy, which is the second alternate. We had two applicants, again, Mr. Loader and Carol Nelson. As I pointed out earlier, no one responded back to serving on more than one committee. So my recommendation was to appoint Mr. Loader to the second alternate position on this committee.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's great.
okay, discussion? Any discussion on this? We talked about both candidates.
No, I make a motion that we move forward with Tony's recommendation.
Okay, and do I have a second? Betsy?
Only you,
Second.
Betsy.
Second. Yeah, sorry.
So I'll take the vote. Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Glystein,
Yes.
and I'm in favor as well. That's a unanimous recommendation.
So transportation, there's one vacancy. It's a full voting member. We have 4 applicants, 2 of which we've already appointed. But it's Mr. Bedore, Ms. Hirschman, Mr. Loader, and Ms. Nelson. So we've already appointed Loader and Nelson, but that, again, and I've made the decision up for the committee to choose.
I guess I would make a motion for Ms. Hirschman to fill this position.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. And any other discussion? I mean, it seems like a good idea to give somebody a chance.
Yep.
Maybe they may not have a lot of experience, get in the game a little bit. So,
Yep.
So a motion, please.
It's already made.
I did made it.
Okay, thank you.
I second it.
Thanks. It's going so fast. I'm having a hard time keeping up. So we'll take the vote.
Straight through.
Counselor Glystein.
Yes.
Last night. And Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
And I'm in favor of that as well. Another unanimous recommendation. Thank you. And down to the Z in the alphabet, ZBA.
We have 1 vacancy, which is the second alternate, and we have 2 applicants, Mr. Bedore and Mr. Crockett. Mr. Crockett had previously served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He moved from Scarborough, but has moved back and has showed interest in trying to get back on the zoning board. He's very interested in it. And again, Mr. Bedore is currently serving on other boards, but has shown interest on the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for Mr. Crockett.
Second?
No,
We have a second?
I second that.
All right, so let's have some discussion about that. I know, Leroy has deep experience. I mean, he's clearly qualified. Mr. Bedore also seems to be pretty fully utilized in other committees. This one seems pretty straightforward. So
I'm very happy to see Leroy back.
Yeah.
He is a workhorse. He does have a lot of knowledge and experience. There's no, fireworks with Leroy. He's very calm and,
Yeah.
just goes about the business, and he's an incredibly hard worker. So whatever needs to be done, Leroy will do it.
great. Yeah, and he's got deep technical expertise, which is pretty important. This is a quasi judicial committee, so they rely on precedent, and these are, they're winners and losers, at the zoning board. So, it's important to have folks that really do know the details. We've
Motion's been made, yeah.
pardon? Go ahead.
And seconded, and
Okay.
seconded.
Mhm.
We finished discussion.
Thank you. So we will vote. Counselor Glystein,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
and I'm in favor of that as well. It's the last staffing position that we'll do this evening, and that's another unanimous recommendation. So
And we don't
Still-
have that many vacancies left. I mean, Board of Assessment has the first and second alternate, Coastal Waters is second alternate, the Pest Management Committee, the Arborist and Horticulturist, and the Senior Advisory Board is the second alternate. So
Great.
That's pretty
those are the only
impressive.
thing that.
We've got a lot of people stepping up that want to be
Great.
involved, so.
I will tell you, we had 3 other applications that showed interest on committees that were already filled, but I emailed them and told them that we would keep their applications on file for at least a year. So if a position came open, we would make them aware of it and ask if they were still interested, and would bring it back to the committee. So
that's great. It sounds like we're going to have a really nice pool of candidates, so we won't have to, do the promotional campaign so aggressively, hopefully going forward. And
Right.
there'll be people rolling off these ad hoc committees, which hopefully will make some other talent available for
Yeah.
standing committees.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And
Great work.
I
Really
think
great
the
work.
outreach and the online form and the big button, right on the homepage, I think it's worth it because, let's keep them coming. People have
Yeah.
different circumstances, and we have a lot of new people in town. So,
And you
Yeah,
never
it's
know, we might form a new committee.
Right, yeah. Probably will. Yeah.
Please, not right away, please. So with that, I think we did have one other agenda item. This is something that Betsy brought up last meeting. It's to talk about a calendar. Do we want to do like a calendar, kind of look at the year? So we set expectations for folks that
Yeah,
will follow us.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So Betsy, do you want to take a cut at that and come back maybe next meeting and we'll review your calendar and just publish it?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts? I mean, I know this year we worked really hard to try to get the bulk of the work done by the end of December so people could hit the ground running at the
Yeah.
beginning of January. Is
Yeah.
that where the other two counselors are kind of, those thoughts are kind of with you? And is that too much for the staff or?
Well,
Let's do- Yeah, go ahead. Ken.
what's the, because typically there's an election, so you have
Right.
new folks, and this committee could change up. So that's the only dynamic I think we should really work out to find in the sweet spot time on when to do that. But because
Yeah.
I may have misunderstood, but I'm also looking at the calendar so we can look in the future, understanding what's coming, and prepare, and then maybe ramp up even the campaign a little harder, knowing that things are coming. So
Yeah, I think one of the things we talked about was maybe kind of really, when there's interest around the campaign, kind of doing a push for, and if you're not running for office, or,
Yeah.
serve
Yeah.
on one of these committees, and maybe not even the vacancies as much as just kind of trying to keep the pool up,
Yeah.
so that, the committees, because sometimes there's as much as a 2-month gap before they can really do anything. So I thought, Chairman Hamel did a really good job this year, and of course the staff trying to get it really pushed out so that these guys could all start meeting and really
Yeah.
hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. So
Yeah, there's definitely a rhythm to it. There's no question. There's a cadence to the year, which as you mentioned, there's a timing related to the election. So, and I think we didn't have many, or at least if we had vacancies, we had people queued up. So the new council and the new committees could kind of pick up with that. So, and I know we did a lot in the off season, a lot of work in terms of the process as well as technological improvements. So
Tony,
Betsy, come back with that and
Yeah.
show us what it looks like, and then we'll try to
Tony,
educate
were you going to
others
say
around
something
that.
or?
No, what we try to do is to note, just after the elections in November is when we push to get everybody that's up for reappointment.
Mhm.
We try to get notice out to them and have them get back to us by the end of that month. So, because we know we're going to have a new committee, a new appointment. Sometimes
Yep.
it's the same people, sometimes it's not. That way, everything will be in place for that committee to make.
that should
Start-
definitely be a
make
factor
action.
in our calendar then, right?
Right. Yeah, I'll put that one on there. I mean, Mike could even do it in October, but we'll look at it. And of course, Tony, you can say if it's, well, that's too busy or whatever, but yeah. And maybe, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, Don, you gave me a really good education. So, or I would not have been prepared for that first meeting. I know it sounds stupid, but I had not watched I'd been to one of your meetings, but it was a specific issue. So I don't remember, but maybe we include like, okay, watch this meeting. So if you
Yeah.
get on the committee, you'll know what it's all about. So,
One thing I thought, and we don't have to solve for it now, but I thought that was helpful walking through what the duties are like, so that when you came on board, you hit the ground running.
that was hugely helpful. Yeah.
The standing or returning committee members could do that, could help with like,
Yeah,
here's how it
there's an
works.
idea. Yeah.
So just think about building that in and maybe highlighting, what the work that needs to be done and maybe assigning it. But we'll take a look at that next time. Any other agenda
Right.
items for May?
No.
Okay,
Well, we have so much going.
it's okay. I mean, if we have a 30-minute meeting or no meeting at all in May, that's probably okay too. But so these will move to the council, right? So we'll do the notice next Wednesday, I guess, right? We're together again. Is it a regular meeting or just budget?
This is a special meeting next week. Usually the only thing that's discussed is what's on the agenda, and there's no council comments or updates on
Comments or
committees.
anything.
Yes,
Okay.
it wouldn't be until the 21st.
Okay, then, but
Okay.
we get it done this
Yeah.
month, and then we'd be in pretty good shape. But so thanks. I don't know if there are any other comments or questions. Liam, go ahead. I see you wagging a finger there.
Yeah, I just, we do have one member of the public in attendance, so we don't have a public comment section on our agenda, but I didn't know if that individual wanted to make any public comments. If they do,
Sure.
they can raise their hand.
I think it's Annalie sitting in. Annalie, you're welcome to join here if you would like to speak?
Just wanted to not lose sight of it before we move to executive session.
Very
Yeah.
Do
good.
we have,
So,
did she like raise her electronic and we can't see her, right? Okay.
No.
Annalee, are you there?
yeah.
She
I
might have
don't
got
see her.
distracted. Yeah.
So, with that, then I think we'll just, I'll ask for a motion from someone to move to executive session. And,
Point of information first, how are we getting
yes.
on the other one?
There's,
I'll
you
send
should have
out a
received
link.
a link, Betsy, in the calendar invite. I can resend it to you.
Yep, no, I've got it. I just, if it's a link, I put it in a certain folder, so I just wanted to take a look. So, okay,
It's
got
a
it.
Google, it's a Zoom,
It's
Or-
Zoom, but it's a meeting, so it'll be a Zoom, look similar format, but there'll obviously be no live streaming of it.
okay,
Yeah.
And could we take like a 5 or
Yeah.
7, 8, 10-minute break or something?
sure.
Not too long, because we have like, what do we have tonight, Lee?
How about
Charter.
5:45? Yeah, how about we adjourn, we
Yep.
convene at 5:45?
Brutal.
5:45. Yep.
Very good.
It's a brutal
Thanks,
meeting.
everybody. Wait, so we have motion to move?
So move.
Second,
Okay, and Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Gleisteen,
yes.
and I'm in favor of that, so.
Thank you again, Tony.
You're welcome. Take care.
5:39, see you at
See you now.
5:45.